Welcome everyone, it's Glacier Guy, rocking the Gray Shirt as always. Coming at you with a studio update. It is Saturday, it's the weekend after Thanksgiving, and I released that little bit over an hour-long video yesterday going through the era of the Imperial Guard. But we're going to get back on track with what are the projects we were working on, and one of the projects we were working on is assembling all of our Alpha Legion for Horus Heresy. We got just under 6,000 points. We're going to break that down. Before we get into the Alpha Legion, let's do a little cleanup. So, my Imperial Guard that I talked about yesterday with the heavy weapon teams going from 60 to 50 has been a real problem, as well as the command squads going from 25 to 28. Now, realistically, I don't play a lot of organized play, but I do like showing off in my battle reports realistic rules, legal models, and base sizes. Because, like, if I'm walking through an area, I want to be able to represent what you would actually get. Also, a little bit different. So the trench works that I built don't fit the 60 millimeter bases for heavy weapons very well, but they do fit 50 millimeter bases pretty easily. Now, so there is a little bit of incentive to me to go to a smaller base size. Now the problem is a lot of the plastic heavy weapon teams from the Cadians don't fit very well on 50 millimeter bases. But the metal models from the older Imperial Guard range, they should fit fine. The Vistorians might be a bit of a problem because the Vistorians were kind of built with the idea that you were going to put them on 60 millimeter bases. But all the older ones, they didn't have they had like a small, like Steel Legion, for example, had the loader and the crew on their own bases. And a lot of times for the same thing with the Valhallans. So that's fine. For my Praetorian Guard, I have one heavy weapon team, but those are from Victoria Miniatures, so those are a little bit smaller of a footprint, so I can easily put those on the 50 millimeter bases. They're not even on, right now they're on corked, so I can easily paint them a lot better. They're not even on bases that I don't think they are. Maybe, no, the guns are on bases, but the crew are not. So I can, and for those, I super glue those because it's resin. So I can just pop those off, put them in the freezer, get them all brittle, and then slowly carve them up. The command squads are a bit more of an issue. What I'm trying to find a solution for those so I don't have to buy new bases for those command squads is to print base ring adapters to go from 25 to 28. Now, I have two different types of printers. I have a resin printer. That one would work, but I don't have a flexible build plate, so I have a concern that either I'm gonna have issues with building them flat on the build plate and not being able to scrape them off, or having to support them a certain way and maybe or may not print the way I want them to. But I want to use my FDM printer, but my FDM printer is giving me errors. It's giving me leveling errors, and it won't level the bed, and it won't print properly. So what I've done is I've contacted customer service to try to see if I can get some solutions for that. So we have, so my plan for going from 25 to 28 on the other command squads that they have is to get those little ring adapters. Now, if for whatever reason the printer is not going to work, I can always order those. There's a lot of people on eBay that are selling them. And so there are solutions that don't require me rebasing the command squads. Now, I do have a lot of the older Cadian models. I'm just not a fan of the older Cadian models when looking at the newer Cadian models. Not so much as the models. Like, the models look fine. The older sculpts look fine. I don't have a problem with the older sculpts, but I don't like the way I loaded out the models. And no one's going to magnetize infantry in their Cadian squads when they're taking so many of them. It's just not what you do. I just don't like the loadouts. Also, a lot of my command squads have illegal loadouts. So I put those on a local Facebook group to see if anybody wants to take those off my hand. I'm not really looking to ship them anywhere, but we'll see what goes on with that. And one last thing, I'm going to flip the camera around, and I'm going to talk about some shelving that I got all nice and organized. All right, so here are my cabinets that I was referring to. So these 4 cabinets are from IKEA. They are part of the Brimnez series. Now they come with 10 glass shelves per cabinet, which is fine for most people that have a moderately number amount of armies. But I have, as you can tell, quite a few amount of armies. But I was filling them up, and I wasn't utilizing all of the maximum space. So I started to do some measurements and figure out that typical model height, I can add 18 more shelves. I looked at trying to get some different sizes for those shelves. And different, I was going to get, so the other ones, the IKEA ones come with tempered glass. and I quoted tempered glass, and that was around $800 to $900 for 18 panels of the right size tempered glass. And so then I looked at other different sources of supply. One of the members of a Discord that I'm part of, they recommended using this different manufacturer who makes kind of an acrylic plexiglass, which I've had some plexiglass quotes around $500, but these ones were just under $300. It was like $250, $260, somewhere around there. And I actually got 20 panels. Probably because 2 of those panels were a little bit damaged, but they still fit perfectly fine. So I got 20 panels, I ordered 18, and yeah, so looking pretty sweet. I got some more storage space for getting these Alpha Legion into the shelf. All right, let's get back over and let's go into the Legion. All right, we're getting into the actual Legion. We'll do a breakdown of the different models, but I want to talk about something real quick that happens from time to time. So I have a lot of unpainted models, but I have a lot of assembled or sub-assembled armies. And the reason for that mostly is because when I look at boxes that are not built, I get more overwhelmed looking at unassembled models than I get looked at unpainted models, which, maybe that's me, I don't know. And then there's a lot of people who just have like forever piles of potential unassembled models, just like stacks and stacks and stacks of boxes. And I get like where people are like, well, I don't care about your giant pile of boxes you have. So I understand that. I sort of see that a little bit. Some people are like, oh, you're just showing off what how much money you can spend, but like you're not in the hobby, which I think is silly. But one thing that confuses me is when you like, hey, look, I just spent 2-3 weeks putting a lot of effort into assembling this huge chunk of models. And people are like, don't care. We don't care. It's not painted. We don't care. Why are you leaving a comment? Like, do you know how long it takes to assemble this? How much effort it takes to assemble this? And the only thing you care about is that they're painted? You could just not say anything. You just be like, all right, fine. Or you just downvote. You can be like, all right, well, I don't care about your unpainted models. You'll never get those painted. I've heard that so many times. How many armies have I painted in a week straight? The Tallarn took me 5 days. To assemble and paint the Tallarn army took me 5 days. To assemble and paint the Mordians, it took me like 3 weeks. To fully assemble and fully paint the Atlantean Spears, that took me 2 months because I really wanted to put a lot of extra effort into those models. The Catachans probably took me the longest, mostly because I was painting them over the course of a couple months, but I can paint, the World Eaters. The World Eaters, I painted those in 5 days? 5 days, yeah. So we can paint a lot of stuff fast, without contrast, by the way, and without speed paint. Well, we do use some speed painting techniques, but not speed paints. We used all about assembly line techniques and getting a simple color scheme that works well. So we do have a simple color scheme. So it just seems kind of weird that you would complain or that you would just have to go, oh, I don't care that's not painted. I don't care. I don't want to see your unpainted models. I'm like, all right, okay, well, all right. But, criticism flows everywhere. But, I mean, if you're still watching, let me go over what I got. So essentially, this is 2 boxes of Age of Darkness. Minus, I didn't assemble the 2 Praetors that come in box 2. I just didn't want 2 or 4 of the same, or 2 of the same Praetors. I didn't want 4 Praetors of the same. Yeah, because I was going to paint these ones. They're uniquer models, and I didn't want to have to paint unique models twice. Same. But yeah, and then we added. So let's kind of go from left to right. We'll work our way over from here. All right, so we have a Contemptor Dreadnought that he's actually going to be painted as Emperor's Children. So this is my ode to Rylanor. I know that I could take him in an Alpha Legion army. But not as Rylanor, because I don't think you can take characters, but he'll just be like an Emperor's Children, like a little, sneaky little Alpha Legion hanging out in the Emperor's Children army. But we have a little ode to Rylanor because I think Rylanor is cool. We got a melee Leviathan Dreadnought. We got 10 Cataphractii Terminators with Lightning Claws and a little grenade launcher on the Sergeant. We have 10 Cataphractii Terminators with Chain Fists, Combi Bolters, and 2 Heavy Flamers, also grenade launcher on the Sergeant. We got 10 heavy support las cannons. Those are looking beefy and nice. We have a Kratos battle tank set up for maximum anti-tank. We have another Contemptor Dreadnought with magnetized arms for all the ranged options that came in the kit. We have 2 Spartan Assault Land Raiders. We have 2 10-man support squads, 10 of them with rotary guns and 10 of them with plasma guns. We got 2 of the Praetors that come in the box, so we got the Power Fist and the Power Sword. And we have a Cataphractii Praetor with the Multi-Melta, the one that comes in the kit, with the Chaplain. We got Alfarius all sub-assembled nicely. And then we have, for the Spartans, I just went with the normal Las Destroyer, or Laser Cannon Destroyer, and the 2 Heavy Bolters. I didn't really give them anything extra. Probably going to give them Flare Shields, though. We have 40 tactical squads. And let me move this. Okay, so with the 40 tactical squads, 10 of them are, or not the 40 tactical squads, the 40 tactical Marines. So we have 4 10-man tactical squads. 1, because I want to fit them in rhinos that I'm going to get later on. And also, I like the weapon options. So we have 10 with bayonets, 10 with chain swords, 10 with chain bayonets, and 10 without any extra melee weapons. The sergeants all have plasma pistols, but the sergeants have different weapons. We got Power Fist, Power Sword, Chain Sword, and the Lightning Claw. And then we have another 10-man support squad with auto cannons and another Contemptor Dreadnought with magnetized ranged weapon options. So this is our roughly 6,000 points. If I had assembled the other 2 Praetors, I think it would be just over 6,000 points. But I think with some upgrades and whatnot, we could probably get to 6,000. The reason why I got so many is you typically will field a 3,000 point army when you're playing Horus Heresy, but I wanted to have a bunch of different options. I wanted to be able to say, I want to take melee, or hey, I want to take some support squads to go with the tactical squads. But some of the stuff was mostly just because I bought 2 Age of Darkness box sets. So will I ever field this army fully all at once? Probably not. But I do like having the options of being able to mix and match what I want to bring. Yeah, so that has been this. What I'm going to be doing next is I still have a lot of things to assemble. So we're going to be getting back on that assembly train. And I have about 20 to 30 more models to assemble. These are bigger kits. Also, I do have some Cadians to assemble, but I'm not really, I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be worried about putting those. I got some Slaves to Darkness. I got that 1 box set too. I'm not going to be assembling those until after I've done some painting. So will I be painting the Alpha Legion next? Maybe. More than likely, I'll probably be painting some sort of Imperial Guard models next. But the Alpha Legion are on the short list, and mostly because I have all the paints I need to paint them in a very fast and very coherent color scheme. So yeah, that's been pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, what's your hot take on like unpainted models? I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of armies. There was an Apocalypse game somebody posted, and over half of the models in the Apocalypse game were unpainted. So maybe it's because it's a 30K specific Facebook group that I'm getting all this flack from, and 30K is like the historicals of Warhammer, so maybe they're more really focused on like painting and not painted. But you do see that a little bit in other areas. One thing is weird is I don't actually see that argument a lot in Age of Sigmar, and I don't want to say it's because Age of Sigmar wants more people to play Age of Sigmar, but I think maybe Age of Sigmar is just a little bit nicer. They don't really typically, if I post models that are like, hey, there's a conversion, but I haven't gotten around to painting it yet, most Age of Sigmar people are like, yeah, it's cool, looks nice, I can't wait to see it painted. Yeah, most of them aren't really like aggressive about it, but that's it. I'm just happy that I finally got this all assembled because it was a lot of work. But yeah, we still got some more work to do. Other than that, I will see you next time. So hope you have a good one, and yeah, goodbye.